Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome into Good Morning Lambeau. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access. I'm joined alongside Tim live in Green Bay. We got Jacob in Wisconsin, Carly in Wisconsin, ready to talk a little Green Bay Packers. I apologize in advance for the voice. Last night, we, as free agency kind of wound down, got out on the deck in the cold air, built a bonfire, threw the bibs on, and hung out outside, had a couple of daddy sodas. And I woke up this morning like, what is wrong with my throat? So there you go. In the words of the late great Hank Williams Sr., with Aaron Jones departing, there was definitely a tear in my beer last night. I promise you that. So here we are. We're going to try to make positive of it, but the news right off the top, guys, we just learned about it, right? As Tim, look at Tim over there with that humble flex showing that shareholder cup. You see that? I've seen that, Tim. Look at my man over there. He says, don't forget I own the team. Since you own the damn team, Tim, why'd you let Aaron Jones go? Talk to me. I've been kind of looking at the numbers. I've been crunching the numbers a bit, right?
And you're muted.
Oh, I had no input on that decision whatsoever.
He said I was on vacation. They made a decision without me.
Right? I said we could have gave him the $7 million. They didn't want to hear me.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. So, listen, we got to talk about it. And we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on it because I don't like this podcast to be depressing. I want people to come away listening to our podcast going, hey, man, I'm in a better mood. Let's go have us a day, right? But we got to talk about it. Aaron Jones, news just broke. He is signing a one-year contract with the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, this is per Tom Pelissero and Ian Rappaport confirmed. He gets 1 year, $7 million. I'll start. And again, I'm going to try not to make this doom and gloom here, all right? Because you guys know I hate that type of content. But essentially, Josh Jacobs' contract dropped, and we'll get into the details of it here in a minute. His cap hit this year is $5.3 million, okay, which is great. I mean, the way they structured it, listen, they backloaded the contract is what they did. The guaranteed money that everyone was saying, it's just a 1 year, it's a 1 year. Technically, yes, you can get out of it after 1 year, but you got to pay all that guaranteed money up front. They spread that signing bonus out over the 4 years. We'll get to it in a second. His cap hit is $5.3 million. Aaron Jones's cap hit in 2023 was $7.8 million. Now, you know, we moved that contract around quite a bit to make the cap a little more friendly. So you're getting basically $2.5 million less on the cap this year for Josh Jacobs than you had for Aaron Jones last year. That's the good news. It's like, okay, we saved a little money this year against the cap. The window's open. You can tell Goody's trying to get us into that window real quick before Jordan Love's contract hits here. The biggest bulk of it, if they sign a deal in May, not saying they will, but if they do, the biggest bulk of it will hit in year 2 where you'll go, whoa, that's a big cap hit, right? That's going to happen. But what you come up with is Aaron Jones's dead cap hit. His dead cap this year was $12.3 million, if I remember correctly. All right. If you take the $12.3 million and add that to Josh Jacobs' $5.3 million cap hit, the number you come up with is $17.6 million. Guess what Aaron Jones's cap hit would have been this year if we would have just kept him on the roster? $17 million. So you are allocating the same amount of cap hit in 2024 to the running back position. This is real simple. Brian Gutekunst said Josh Jacobs is a better running back than Aaron Jones. That's what he said. And he said it with the checkbook. You won't hear it come out of his mouth, but that's what he's saying with the checkbook. You know, we always say you want to know where someone's priorities lie. Look at their checkbook and their calendar, right? Look at their bank statement and their calendar. That'll tell you what's most important to them. Goody thought Josh Jacobs is a better running back. Now, like Carly pointed out, they have all the inside information, right? They know more than anyone, obviously, exactly where his health is. We're not going to sit here and pretend like Aaron Jones hasn't been banged up. We've seen it last year again. He's a smaller stature back. I don't think it's any coincidence that Josh Jacobs is a much thicker back, 220 pounds, whatever it is he is. I can't remember exact weight. He's significantly, more solid than Aaron Jones, probably going to be able to stay a little healthier, especially at 26 years old and Aaron Jones being at 29. It's a hard pill to swallow for me, guys, because him signing a 1 year, $7 million deal, they let him test the market. You remember Spoon said they're going to let him test the market, and if he comes back underneath that, then they'll, if they can beat that offer, they'll sign him. I would have been totally okay with them saying, hey, we'll give you a 1 year, $8 million deal, right? Because now you've got Yes, the money goes up a touch, seeing that A.J. Dillon's contract was like a little over $2 million or whatever last year. You're going to be spending significantly more in the running back position, but this is just wild to me, man. It's Goody.
Can I ask a question, Clayton?
Yeah.
And this is an overall football question, maybe, because I still kind of don't understand what's the good of players signing contracts anyway if no one has to honor them. If they can just release them after 3 years of a 4-year contract, and then they're maybe not getting paid as much as then the incoming, like the incoming players. Like, what's the point of having contracts anyway?
Carla, you know how as fans we get angry when a player holds out for more guaranteed money? As a fan, it's like, come on, dude, you're getting paid enough. Get in here. You're getting paid to play a kid's sport and this and that. The guaranteed money is what they're after. And this is the very reason why, right? If he had more guaranteed money attached to his cap number, then they wouldn't have cut him loose because it would have been a bigger cap penalty and made less sense for the club, right? So when we talk about like Josh Jacobs and the money he got, quote unquote, up front, whatever the signing bonus was, 12.5, I think it was a little over 12 million, maybe right at $13 million. That's the only thing they're good for. They can cut Jacobs after the first year. That dead cap that they've got allocated, that signing bonus they got allocated to other years on the cap, he's already got that money in hand in a check with a signing bonus, right? It's just now those cap hits will accelerate to the current year. So technically they could get out of that contract in roughly $13 to $14 million on the cap 1 year. Bang, he's off the books. That's why running backs, that's why these players, they hold out for more guaranteed money because that's the only thing that's guaranteed about these contracts. Like, let me give you a parallel. Major League Baseball, their contracts are fully guaranteed, right? Whether they play for your team or not, that money you're on the hook for. It's fully guaranteed. Football, a lot different. I'm just telling you right now, man, every time we go to a CBA, and the last holdout we had, you guys remember, everybody hated the players, didn't remember the lockout? Well, these players are being selfish, get out there and play football. This is the type of stuff they're lobbying for. And it's why me as a fan, as I get older too, I try to step back and go, man, you got to get your money, dude. You got to get your money because you may be out of the league next year, right, Jacob? Like, I mean, that's a real thing, dude.
Especially a running back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, especially at running back. So I'll give you a quick opinion of what I have. I'm obviously mad. I'm not going to go into it as much, really, because, I mean, it's just emotional. I think it's more – I think as Packer fans, we need to look at the organization and be like, what is it about them that after about 30 years old, they just turn either aggressive towards each other or there's a lack of communication or they feel like they're getting disrespected because there's just we can't argue that there's a clear pattern. I mean, it seems like if you're a Viking or if you're a Packer – around 27 to 30 years old, you're moving to either Las Vegas or you're going to Minnesota. And I don't really, or New York. So we talked about that, me and you, Tim, offline once about how many of our guys just pack up and retire in Las Vegas or then Oakland. So it's just, I don't know. I want to figure out what's going on. And you can kind of see the writing on the wall. Like, even like we just talked about, look at what they're doing with Jacobs. I mean, they kind of gave him a contract, but basically they're telling him, hey, we're going to give you a year to see if we like you. And then after that, we'll just dance you around like a puppet. Yeah. And it's like, dude.
Yeah. And make no two bones about it. Like, there's going to be Packer fans that come back and go, yeah, I'm glad they do it that way. Yeah, that's business, right? That's Goody. He's cold-blooded. Right? And it's like, yeah, that hurts the locker room a little bit too, guys.
I was going to say the locker room. I'm worried about the locker room because if the young guys on this team, that was what was so great is the locker room was so happy and positive and young and naive and they didn't know that they weren't young and blah, blah, blah. What if now they're seeing the writing on the wall? They've now watched 1 or 2 years of older guys get disrespected and possibly pushed out. And they're like, dude, I'm not going to give everything to this organization,
Right. And for the people that are running the victory laps about the Brandon Jacobs contract, like I was saying, like, it's just a 1 year prove deal. It's a 1 year prove. Okay, yeah, technically, yeah. But guess what Josh Jacobs is going to do next year? If he has a big year, Josh Jacobs is probably going to sit back and go, hey, guys, can I get some more guaranteed money? Okay, not. Well, I'm not coming into camp. What do I got to lose? Right? Like, that's the problem with it. Like,
we've hit the crux of the problem, which is contracts are not guaranteed in the NFL. That's the problem.
Bingo.
That's where all of this crap is attributed to.
Yeah. It's really that simple for sure. Again, I personally like the Josh Jacobs signing. What I don't like is how in the world do we not put more value on Aaron Jones than $7 million? Now, people will say, well, he's already on the hook for 12, or we're already got $12.3 million in dead cap. Okay, you're conveniently choosing to forget the fact that he was only $7 million against the cap last year. This was simply us pushing it out, right? The final evaluation becomes as a leader in the locker room, right? As a player on the field, which, by the way, led the league in rush in the last 3 weeks of the season, if I remember correctly.
I think it was 4.
It was the last 4. Oh, by the way, look at what he did to Micah Parsons in Minnesota or in Dallas there, right? Just absolutely stonewalling him in pass block. Like the things he does, hearing Jordan Love talk about him in the offseason on the Micah Parsons podcast. What you're saying is you've got to forget the dead cap. You got to forget everything involved. The new question, the new evaluation as a front office becomes, is it worth $7.5 million or $8 million, right, to keep Aaron Jones in our locker room and have him on the field, even if it's a limited basis? I think it is worth that. And you can't say we don't have the cap space because now we have the cap space, right? So that's essentially what it comes down to for me is I don't like this aspect. I love that they signed McKinney. You guys know that was the top item on our grocery list was Xavier McKinney. Great job, Goody. You got him. I don't hate the Josh Jacobs signing. I think that's a pretty good signing. I do, especially with the way that the thing is structured. And we'll talk about it right now. I guess we'll jump into it. I just don't understand the thought process behind Aaron Jones. Is it worth $7.5 million? Now, here's the other thing too, and we kind of talked about this off air that comes into play here. You guys jump in at any point. I do not want to talk too much. I want your all's input on all this stuff. With Aaron Jones, right? And was there a little bit of a Devontae Adams effect here? You guys know Devontae Adams ended up not playing for the Packers. He refused the franchise tag and he cut off negotiations because going into the last year of his deal, he approached the team like, hey, can we get a new deal? And well, let's see it one more year, is what they said to him. That's not a rumor. Devontae Adams said that on a podcast, right? He said, after everything I've done, you're going to come to me and say, let's see it one more year. I'm done. I'm out. And that's when he refused to negotiate going into that last year. He refused to accept the franchise. I mean, he had to accept the franchise tag, but he said there was no way he was going to play on it. This is what this feels like. They could have went back to Aaron Jones and said, okay, they're giving you 7, we'll give you 8. And he might have said, screw y'all. Everything I've done. And that was all I was worth, right? So didn't expect it to take this turn, but you've got to tip your cap to Tom Silverstein because I'm telling you, he tried to warn us 2 weeks ago of this very thing. And we all, I say we all, you guys weren't, but there was many people on Twitter, and I know I was like, man, Spoon kind of got ahead of himself. That's weird. And in the back of my mind, I'm going, that came from the front office. They were trying to prepare the waters a little bit. So I don't think it's the end of the world. I just don't like it. And again, more times than not, every time Goody, I say every time, I feel pretty comfortable saying every time Goody has moved on from an older player, we've looked up in 2 years and went, that was the right move. You've got to give him his credit for that. Jordy Nelson, no one wanted to see it, proved to be the right move, right? That's the more recent one I think of. So
it's true. And you can't as a GM attach emotion to things. We've talked about this before. You know, if you're going to pay your GM to do anything, you're going to pay him to operate with his brain, not his heart. And that's what Goody's doing. And Goody even said that in his statement yesterday. I don't have the quote directly, but he said something to the effect that it's one of the hardest decisions he's ever had to make during his time here. And for obvious reasons, because, Aaron Jones is a one of one. You don't find another Aaron Jones somewhere very easily. So, but I think if you're, as an organization, if your front office is constantly looking at last year, or they're looking back, or they're, honoring the veterans, as we say, you're going to wake up one day and you're going to have a bunch of 35-year-old dudes on your team. Absolutely. And you're not going to be competitive, but you're going to have a lot of happy veterans. And, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Do you want to be that organization that, really leans on and takes care and pays top dollar to your veterans and, not bringing in new blood every year and getting younger? I mean, this is a full-on commitment. I mean, we're probably going to be the youngest team in the league again in 2024. Yeah. This is Goody really going young. And guys, we've taken the Super Bowl window and we've pushed it wide open now. And it's maybe a 1 or 2 year window. No, it could be a 3 to 5, 6, 7 year window here for us to have an opportunity to go on a run here. And this has nothing to do with disrespecting Aaron Jones. I have my personal opinions on the matter, but again, I'm not in the room. None of us are. We don't know how the negotiations went. I'm sure the podcasting world will pull this out of Aaron Jones at some point in the future, and we'll hear the story. But guys, like Jacob said earlier, this isn't our first rodeo. We had to watch Brett Favre go play in Minnesota, for crying out loud. We can get through this. It's just a fresh wound right now. We'll be okay. And again, I for one am going to do my best to just stay positive here and look at what we have and not what we don't have. What did Aaron Jones say himself? He said, "Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened." Yeah. We had 7 seasons of great football out of Showtime, and like I said yesterday, hey, we get to see him twice this season, so
yes,
we'll welcome him back to Lambeau. I'm sure the fans will be respectful and welcome him with open arms. And
I think this will be totally different here. I think that you won't get boos from Aaron Jones. If you do, then those people need to be drug out in the parking lot and spanked in front of everybody.
What's odd though, quick, do you guys see Aaron Jones fitting in with that Minnesota offense? Because the way that he just doesn't seem like that power back that they've had for a lot of years. And they don't seem to use him in the passing game as nearly as much as like we would. It doesn't seem as
efficient. They don't really have a quarterback, so I'm assuming he's going to get plenty of touches.
I heard they signed Sam Darnold.
So like I said, they don't have a quarterback. So he'll probably be a pretty we're going to give him some he'll be a focal point of that offense for sure.
Yeah, and here's the thing, it's Kevin O'Connell. He comes from the McVay tree. It's the same offense as Green Bay runs from a sense of terminology, wide zone boot. Now, all of them kind of evolve their own way. Shane Waldron went in a little bit different direction, spreading things out. You've got, like I said, McVay leaning more on 11 personnel. Kevin O'Connell was leaning more 11 on personnel, if I remember correctly, too. But, yeah, listen, I don't think he's going to go up there and be the difference maker that gets them over the hump by no stretch of the imagination. And I am removing all emotion from this. When I look at that number there, that $7 million pisses me off. Like, from a business standpoint, and you guys know I'm big on culture. I'm big on leadership in the locker room. I'm big on treating people right because that does trickle down. These people that are spreadsheet nerds and they're all about statistics and analytics and this and that, you talk to every former player across the league. You talk to every great coach. Vince Lombardi, it still rings true today. Battles are won in the hearts of men. And once you've won their heart, they'll follow you anywhere, right? This isn't the way you win the locker room's heart right here. And those same people that go, "Wow, that's just a cutthroat business." Blah, blah. Okay, there's a reason Green Bay hasn't been able to get over the hump, right? And it seems like every year we find another reason to blame. Well, it was this, it was that, it was Aaron Rodgers, it was the defensive coordinator 3 different times. Like, I think that's missing a little bit. I think that's what Aaron was saying. Now, can they overcome that? Possibly. If you got a good quarterback, you can overcome a lot. I think Jordan Love's a damn good quarterback. So
I'm glad you said that because I think that's what we're going to see now. This is Jordan Love's locker room.
Absolutely.
This is Jordan Love and Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith. Jair. This is their locker room now. And so, if anything, we're going to get to see what the new dynamic is like, and who's going to really step up as leaders. Because you're not going to be able to fill that void that Aaron Jones left by not being here. So I'm interested to see who's going to step up now.
The number I had on this is they were going to have to give him a $10 million deal before I would be like, okay, I understand this. You can't give him that kind of money. If anything less than 7 or less than 10 million was going to be, I was going to feel like this. The locker room presence alone, along with him, and the leadership on the field. I just think of him lifting Tay Wicks' head up, coming off the sideline. Yep. I think of him getting behind Jordan Love when the media was absolutely bashing him. Yep. And some of these guys are sitting back going, "Damn, boy, they really don't care here, do they?" There's some of them in there, whether they're right or wrong. I'm not going to sit here and try to be the judge of that, but it's just it's tough. It's part of the game, we'll move on. Eric Sutherland said Viking fans are the best. They have no quarterback and act like they won the Super Bowl by signing a 30-year-old running back. Ha ha ha. It's true, man. I don't think this is going to get them over the hump here. Again, I think the move is bad in the sense of, we could have had our team leader back for a reasonable price. Eric Sutherland also says, and that, my friends, is why I'm a Packer fan first and foremost. It's a business. I try to never get emotionally attached to players. They come and go every year. 1 year, $7 million. Good luck in Minnesota. There you go. And what it says is the Packers weren't willing to give him that. That's the tough part. Let's see, Steve in the chat. It's time we get some new blood on this team for the future. Jones wasn't the future. Glad Goody is changing this team up for the better. Damn, I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. So the chat sounds like they disagree with us, which is really cool. Minot says, Clayton, I love Aaron Jones, but people seem to be forgetting how much time he missed last year. I'm not forgetting it, Minot. You're right, man. It's
7 games.
The writing was on the wall, right? Let me ask you this.
6 games or 7 games, something like that.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, though, Minot. If Aaron Jones wasn't in that lineup those last 4 weeks, do we make the playoffs?
No. And we certainly don't beat Dallas.
Now you got to ask yourself.
But doesn't
$7 million
that
worth making the playoffs? I think it is. What you gonna say, Carl?
But isn't that the one thing that I even heard you say? Like managers you do not, in football anyway, you don't pay for past performance, right? You play for, it's a gamble. You're playing the numbers. You're projecting what you think they will do, and then you're paying them for that potential contribution, right?
Yeah, no, it's a great point. It is. And that's why I led with it, Carly. What this is saying is Goody is saying Josh Jacobs. I keep wanting to say Brandon Jacobs, the old power back from New York. Josh Jacobs is better than Aaron Jones is what he's saying. What's that, Jacob?
I got Brandon Jacobs' rookie helmet signed back there.
Hey, I liked watching him play, man.
Yeah.
See, this is how we get sidetracked. We'll be over here doing chalk talk about New York Giants from 10 years ago. What Goody is saying here, and listen, he may prove to be right? Like he may prove himself right. He's saying Josh Jacobs is a better running back than Aaron Jones right now, right? That's what he's saying. Because you can't in one breath say, well, no, this is about the future, and then give him a 1-year deal, knowing darn well that dude could hold out next year and try to guarantee some more, guaranteed money or whatever. So
we have only one player left signed by Ted Thompson. That's Kenny Clark is the last of the Mohicans.
Right, let's see here.
Speaking of that, where is Emilio?
Who knows, Jake?
Hungover.
Yeah, he's shoveling 8 tons of rock with a shovel.
Nobody even got the joke. Nobody laughed at my joke.
Carly, listen, he's been talking about shoveling that rock for 6 months now.
Yeah, he's doing 12-ounce curls. That's what he's doing.
He's over there doing 12-ounce curls and having an Alfredo burrito. Yeah, that's
Alfredo burrito.
You almost made me spit up my coffee, man.
He's in the chat. He says, "I'm here."
Steve in the chat says we had the one of the best wide receiver on the team in Devontae Adams. We traded him away, and now look what we got: Watson, Reed, Wicks, Dobbs. It's gotten better. It's not about a single player. It's about the team. Have we won the championship yet, guys? I think that's the thing we're forgetting about too. Like, I think they made the right move with Tay the last year because Tay wasn't going to sign. I think they screwed up with Tay the year before. If you're going to sit here and tell me that we have less of a chance to go to the Super Bowl with Devontae Adams being the number 1 receiver for Jordan Love, I'm sorry. That's we got to respectfully disagree on that. And in the long run, yeah, absolutely. Now we got one of the cheapest wide receiver rooms in the league, right? But there's a trickle-down effect to this, man.
And we don't have a crystal ball.
5 years and we still don't have a Lombardi, at that point, is someone going to go, maybe this isn't? You know what I mean? Like, look at the teams that won the Super Bowl. Kansas City, right? I mean, look at what they're willing to do as far as, look at what they just did with Chris Jones. Guys, Chris Jones is right at 30 years old, right? And look at the money they gave him, right? They're not worried about the cap. They give, Patrick Mahomes a 10-year contract, whatever it was, so they could maneuver that cap around however they need to do. They go out and win back-to-back Super Bowls, right? Look at the Rams. Everybody made fun of the Rams a few years ago when they went all in. It got them a Super Bowl, right? And people were saying, well, look at them now. They made the playoffs last year, right? They're back in the playoff hunt again. So, like, if you look at the blueprint and how these teams are getting over that hump, right? Tom Brady in Tampa, the team that knocked us out that year, right? They did the same thing. They went all in, right? They just went all in with, and I'm not suggesting that you should, try to go out and sign the highest priced players. I'm just saying $7 million on your team leader, your captain. It's kind of like the Rasul Douglas thing, man. It's, Goody's being, Goody is as cold-blooded as they come. I hope it works. And on the surface, I think I agree with everything other than I keep seeing that $7 million. I got to get it off the screen. It's taking me up. It's just, yeah. Let me put it this way. Aaron Jones isn't worth $7 million to this organization for one more year, but Darnell Savage was worth 7.7 last year, fully guaranteed.
That's hard.
That's a hard pill for me to swallow. Like, we can sit here and go, no, the organization is perfect, and we can do that if y'all want, but if you see it, you got to say it. Like, you basically said having Aaron Jones for one more year is less important than Darnell Savage. That's just a hard sell for me. So go ahead, Jake. What you got? You got some breaking news?
Can you pull up Aaron Jones's Twitter?
Oh no! Why you got to do this to me?
Why has he got to do this to me?
Is he already going for the throat here, bro?
Well, Domovsky shared something, basically saying the Packers did not set out to sign a big-name running back. When the talks with Aaron Jones about a pay cut broke down last week, they quickly pivoted over the weekend and decided to go for free agent Josh Jacobs. Look at how quickly things changed. And all he did was simply share it with a laugh emoji, a skull, and it says every story has 3 sides to it. So what does that mean?
I'd have to read the story, and I got to be honest with you, man. There's so many. I'm tired of reading stories. There's so many. It's like, click on the link for the story, and I'm going, I know you guys are trying to make a living. I support Paul Brettel to the death, right? But it does get tiring trying to get to every website for every different writer. So here's the tweet he's talking about. Aaron Jones put laughing emoji, skull emoji. Every story has 3 sides to it. Yeah. The Packers did not set out to sign a big name running back, but when talks with Aaron Jones about a pay cut broke down last week, they quickly pivoted over the weekend and decided to go after free agent Josh Jacobs. So Rob's obviously telling the side of the organization. Aaron Jones, I take those emojis as it's BS, right? Like, what could that have been, though? That's the thing, because the rumors that came out was they asked him to take a $10 million pay cut. That's a lot of money, boys.
Yeah.
So, didn't want to spend the whole episode on this, but that's interesting there, man.
We can move on, but I just thought that was unique.
I'm glad you brought it up, yeah, because it shows where Aaron Jones's headspace is, right? Like, basically what he's saying is he did all but say that's a bunch of BS, right? So, unless I'm reading into it different. So
that's what I got from it.
All right, let's get to the good news. All right, let's turn the page and get to the good news. Josh Jacobs, right? The way this contract is structured, to me, this didn't surprise me. Everybody was acting like this was just, I love what Andrew Brandt said, because there were people on Twitter pretending like, oh, this is genius by good. Andrew Brandt's like, this is how we've always done things, right? So essentially what you got is a 4-year, $48 million deal, right? If you look, guaranteed at signing $12.5 million, all right? So that is your signing bonus. Notice how the signing bonus, so he's under contract 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027. The signing bonus here, if you pay attention to it, look how it's spread out evenly over the 4 years, okay? So listen, kudos to Goody and kudos to Russ Ball for making this happen. Many people were saying it's just 1 year and then you can cut loose. If you think that's their plan, that's really bad business, okay? The goal here, Tim, what do we always say? A 4-year deal is a what?
3-year.
Now, I want to show you kind of broadly here what we're talking about. In 2024, his cap hit is only $5.3 million. His dead cap attached is $12.5 million, okay? So if you go to 2025, look at his dead cap. It drops to 9.3. His cap hit is 11.3. So if you move on from him after 2025, okay, you're only going to free up $2 million. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? 2026, $14.6 million is the cap hit. Dead cap is 6.2. So now you're getting into that ballpark where what's that, $7 million, $8 million that you can free up? Let's just call it $7.5 million you can free up if you move on from there. Now it's more enticing, isn't it? right? And then the last year, if you decided, okay, we don't want that year 29, he'll be 29 years old. We don't want that year. You can literally cut bait with him in 2027, and you would have had a $16.6 million cap hit. Instead, you only get a dead cap of 3.1. So that last year, you can free up $13 million by cutting him loose. It's a 4-year deal, but really you can get out of it after the 3rd year at a reasonable price. So the people that think, okay, well, we'll cut bait if we don't lock him after 2024. I mean, is it possible? Yeah, but I don't think you're going to be. I can't imagine you just pissed off one of the most important players in franchise history just to have a guy for 1 year. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's going to be here at least 2 years, most likely 3. And who knows, man, he may catch fire and be here the whole duration. If that happens, you got that cap hit. What you'll notice, look at 2027. Let's say he's absolutely balling out and you want him back for 2027, but you're looking up and going, man, that 16.6 cap hit that's just too much, right? If that's the case, tack on 2 voidable years, you got 12.2 in salary. You can convert to signing bonus, right? So you could take, $6 million of that off and drop that cap hit. Now, I do want to point this out. It's not all doom and gloom. Like I said, like if you look at the cap hit, Aaron Jones's cap hit was scheduled this year to be over 17 million. Josh Jacobs's cap hit never exceeds 16.6 million. So you went a little bit cheaper, right? The thing that worries me, and again, I hope this doesn't emerge, is after 1 year, the guaranteed money gone, other than the signing or the roster bonus. See that roster bonus of 5.9 million, right? And that's the reason they're saying it's 3 option years. Andrew Brandt said 3 option years for the squad. They can move on from him and be done, and it was just 12.5 million, right? But that roster bonus means if he makes the roster, right, I think it's by the 5th league day of 2025, that money all of a sudden becomes guaranteed. So there's some people that pretend like there's no more guaranteed after that. That becomes guaranteed if he makes the roster, right? So that's kind of how that lays out there. I love the way they structured it. Tim, you hit the nail on the head right off the top here. What that says is that window is open. And Goody has that window kicked wide open right now going, all right, let's go in. Let's try to win us a championship right now, because he's freed up that money in this early window here with this low cap. It'd been real easy to go, let's get the majority of that cap hit off the books right now, and let's just absorb that this year while we got a roster and we like the way we sit. I don't think he's done shopping, and I wouldn't be surprised even post draft if he goes out and signs a few people too. So I want to say we got somewhere around the number I keep coming up with. If Xavier McKinney's contract is in the ballpark of what I expect, I think we're going to have somewhere between, 16, 17 million in cap space, unless they backload it like they did with Josh Jacobs here as far as the cap hit or whatever. So does that make sense?
About as much sense as it can make. Right? Yeah.
And again, it sucks that Aaron Jones is gone. The number that bothers me is that 7 million. It's like, man, that's a tough pill for me to swallow. I was expecting it to say Minnesota's giving 10 million or something. You know what I mean? Like something, even 8 million, I'd be like, but 7 million, I'm sitting there going, okay, yeah, this is kind of silly. You pissed him off, and then you wasn't willing to give him 7. And maybe they did. Maybe they came back and said 8 like Tay, and that's how it'll get kind of spun. Because remember, they came back and the argument was, no, Goody offered him more money than Vegas. That's not the point. At the end, he did. That was saying, I'm going to marry you. I'm going to marry you. Yeah,
and then she said, late.
She got her, you come home from work, she got the U-Haul to drive, and then you're like, no, I got you a ring. Look, too late, buddy. I'm out of here. I've already rented the truck. I'm gone. So, yeah, we'll see how it shakes out, though. All in all, though, I like the way this free agency is shaking up, man. I really do. The fact, if they hadn't signed McKinney, though, imagine this: if they hadn't signed McKinney, and this happens with Aaron Jones, oh my God, Tim, they are picketing over at 1265, man. The McKinney signing, though, and again, I like the Josh Jacobs signing. I really do. I just don't understand you don't put more value on Jonesy there, but yeah, there you go. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of free agency kind of shakes out here. Jacob had to steal the neighbor's Wi-Fi. He's back now. We're good. So, all right. So Carly and Jacob, you both had some topics you wanted to hit on. I didn't plan on talking about this. I actually, look at this. I had the new roster already ready to go. We were going to look at the new PFF and how everything lined up. Instead, you knuckleheads in the chat say Aaron Jones is signing with Minnesota. There you go. So here we are. I'm blaming the chat on this. Jacob, what do you got, man? You sent me a bunch of stuff last night. What would you like to hit on? Unless I know, Carly, you had something too, right? a good podcast episode. Okay. Do you think it makes sense right now to talk about what you want to talk about, Carly, before we get into some of this PFF stuff with Jacob?
Yeah, I think so. Just because it's some of the thing that some of the chat has been talking about, asking about talking safety, and then a question that C-Dub Irving had up here. Let me go back to it because it starred.
Mhm.
Here we go. I keep hearing all these new terms for positions. What happened to free safety and strong safety? What type is McKinney? So I'm sure that Clayton can give a really awesome answer, like a short answer, but also for more in-depth information about this. Andy Herman's Pack a Day podcast, I think 3 days ago. He has an episode, it's 38 minutes long, and it's what the Packers need at safety in Jeff Hafley's defense. And if you're like me and it helps you're learning to hear the same thing from different people, different ways, because evidently I can't get it just once. I can't understand it after just once. He goes in super deep depth about the different names, the different types of safeties, what they do, what type the free agents are. Highly recommend checking that out for a really long, in-depth explanation. If Clayton were to do that now, we'd be going a whole other hour. So maybe he can give Clayton, if you want to answer his question better, because I'm not even going to try to explain it. But it was a great podcast, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, like when you look at how the snaps are broken down in a website like PFF, they're going to refer to them as deep safeties, box safeties, and then slot safeties, right? And slot essentially is sometimes they'll play what we call Okie, or they'll play like a 3 safety set and bring that safety down and play the slot, because it might be, like a 3rd and 3, but they're in 11 personnel. Okay, we've watched the tape. We've watched how they approach a 3rd and short out of 11 personnel. They like to run the ball. You'd rather have a safety out there than a nickel corner. That's some of that. But essentially what you've got, free safety is the safety that typically plays deep center in a cover 1 or a cover 3, a cover 1 man or a cover 3. And the reason they say free safety is kind of free roaming, right, deep in the field. A strong safety is exactly what it sounds like. They typically line up over the tight end side, the strong side of the formation. That's why they refer to it as a strong safety. Now, it goes a little deeper than that. When you hear us talk about robber, in a cover 1 defense, you've got 1 zone deep and 1 zone underneath. Everyone else's man coverage across the board. Typically, it's a 4-man rush depending on the set. So when you're playing robber, essentially you're showing a 2 safety high look, and one of those safeties will rotate down into the box and cover short middle, okay, what they refer to as the hole. Now, if you're playing a linebacker dropping into that zone and you've got both safeties manned up, or one, say the strong safety is manned up on a tight end, the free safety is playing deep center, right? If that's the case, that cover 1 will be called cover 1 hole. And that's simply the linebacker is going to drop into the hole. If it's cover 1 robber, the safety is coming into the box to cover that mid zone. Okay. So you've got, when you hear us say robber safety, that's what we're talking about. Cover 1 robber. You'll hear rack coverage where they're playing an underneath zone. Same thing. They're rotating down. With Jeff Hafley's defense, I think you're going to get less pre-snap sugar, 2 high looks, and the guys are just going to be in their position already. I think they want the guys to play fast. I think that's what he was referring to it as presser. Now, when you hear me say spur, okay, here's the difference. Robber rotates into the box, takes the middle zone away, okay? Spur is lined up in the box already and playing that run fit inside the box, the safety coming in the box. It's more of a college term, but when they talk about spur, they're talking about the strong safety typically playing in the box. That a lot of times will allow you to play an under front, where you shift your defensive line over to the weak side. You got an extra guy in the box, and the Sam can creep up on the side. And the Sam is the strong side backer, which is typically on the strong side of the formation, the tight end side. So it allows him to fit the run, you to bring a 5-man front. This is what I'm saying about, like, everybody's expecting this to be a revolutionary change in defense. The only difference is we played a 34 jam against base offenses, 12 personnel, 21 personnel, 34 jam, 2 defensive linemen lined up inside the tackles, and 2 wide 9 edges, okay? You're still going to see a 5-man front. The only difference is it's going to be called a 34 or a 43 under or a 43 over. And in over, the defensive line is shaded over to the strong side of the formation. And the reason it's called an under is because your will backer will now play on the line of scrimmage and you have a 5-man front. Now, Hafley may come out and play what we call just a 4-3 stack, where it's 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers behind them, and them go with a 1-gap approach. That's going to allow the defensive line to be more aggressive. Safeties, free safety, think deep, quick, cover safety. Strong safety is a guy that plays short mid-zone and plays the run well. Okay, that's typically the difference. Spur is a pre-snap. They're already in place. Robber is a late rotation. I think you're going to see less 2 high pre-snap looks, but we ran single high 5th most in the league. Post snap, nothing's going to change, in my opinion. Pre-snap is where you're going to see less of that sugar. And I do think it puts the secondary in a little bit of a vulnerable spot. You're sugaring, you're trying to convince the offense you're playing too high shell, and then rotating. And Hafley's, I don't think there's going to be as much smoke and mirrors. There'll be chaos at the line, meaning they're going to mug the A-gaps and stuff with the backers. But as far as the secondary, I think you're going to see more of just pre-snap alignment. Here's where they're playing. Here's what they're doing. So I could be wrong, but that's based off what I've studied on Hafley, I think that's what you're seeing there. So that's the difference in the safeties. So hopefully that answered your question. Nick McSwain says, what is post safety? Post safety is a free safety. Post safety means he's playing post. Think of a post route, right? You're attacking the seam, okay? It's kind of like a deep inside slant type route. Post safety is covering the post, center field, all right? You'll hear me say center field because to me that connects with people more like, oh, he's playing deep center field rather than post, free, all these different terms. So you got a lot of ego in football, right? And there's just as much ego on coaching staffs than there is players. Some of these coaching staffs try to make things sound like they've revolutionized the game. And it's really like, bub, we can go back to 1976. They were doing that then too. Remember when the big talk was the star defender? Y'all remember that, Jacob? Who's going to play star in this Fangio? And they were like, yeah, star. And it's like, bro, do you understand that term got formed from Detroit like back in the 70s or whatever? It might have even been earlier than that. It's like, let's don't act like they reinvented the wheel here. It's a slot corner that moves around a bit. That's what it is. It's Charles Woodson from 2010. So anyway, go ahead, Jacob. What you got, man? There was something you wanted to hit on too, unless we got something else here. Let's see, Deadfish, I'm sorry. $68 million. I don't think he's a free safety. There it is, Tim. Money.
I was wondering, it sounds stupid, but I wanted you guys to see a mock draft that I did this morning because we didn't get to do it last night. And I really took my time and I was super analytical. I looked ahead in the draft to see where guys would be. I made like a map in my head as to what I wanted to do. And I think it turned out like perfect. So I want to see what you guys thought for certain positions and maybe a couple guys we could check out quick because I found some gems in the late round that I thought were kind of cool. But if we don't want to do that, we can save that for some other time.
I'm cool with it. Let's see what we got marked here in the chat real quick. Let's see what C-Dub Irving. I can't believe we asked Jones to take roughly more than 50% pay cut. That's crazy. We wouldn't even give him $7 million. Okay, so he kind of agrees there. And again, I understand the people that go, no, I'm done with it. He stayed hurt. I get that. It's just there's going to be locker room ramifications there, obviously. William Gould in the chat said, no pay raises in the locker room until morale improves. All right. Let's see. Eric Sutherland says Emilio's busy trying to find an Aaron Jones Viking jersey online. I love it. He ain't no rock to shovel over there. Oh, man,
he can block.
He actually can. Jacob, do you want me to pull up that mock draft from our DMs here, bro?
Yeah, if you could, we can just blow through it real quick and then we can move on to something else. Let
me see if I can get a screen grab here. Hopefully it ain't too blurry. I'd like to see it too. And that's the thing, like we're going to get into some more mocks as time goes on. I don't think we're done in free agency either. I think you're going to see several names that were on the roster last year come back at a really cheap price. It's just unfortunate one of them isn't Aaron Jones, right? So, that's the other thing too. The people that act like this is just a slam dunk signing. One of the things that bothers me about that is like you do know that Josh Jacobs graded out really bad last year, right? Like we're going to sit here and pretend like he's the superstar he was 3 years ago. I hope he is. I hope he returns to that form. And there's reasons to think that he could, but he definitely graded out. He graded out in the 60s. Aaron Jones graded out 80, right? And again, was arguably the best back in the league those last 4 weeks. All right, Jacob, can you see this, Bob?
Yep, that's perfect.
All right, here we go, man. Talk to me.
All right, so as you guys know, I've been a big proponent of trading out of the first pick, and my preference would be somewhere between 2 or 3 picks back, which I did. It's super realistic. It's not one of those crazy scenarios where it's just not realistic. So I traded back, got Zach Fraser. He grades out super well. Don't pay attention to their grades on the side. That doesn't mean anything. At the 41 pick went Chop Robinson. I think that'd be perfect because he's going to obviously replace who is that went down? I can't remember him now. Third edge that we have that also happy about Kingsley. And then I went guard again, back to back for Christian Haynes and Mason McCormick. I know people might roll their eyes at that, but that basically with that and Zach Fraser, we should solidify any like offensive line kind of trouble that we have, especially in the interior. And then I went around and got Kalen Bullock, who we talked about is a perfect kind of safety that plays more in that box. And then I turned around after that and got my favorite pick of the draft, Max Melton, Obviously, the brother of Bo Melton, felt like that was a perfect thing right there. Solidify that secondary. And then Ben Sinnott is, I think, maybe he might be one of the best tight ends in the draft. Get him in a steal in the 4th. And then Jalen Sundell is graded out all 3 years of his career very, very well. And then a guy that I think we should take a peek at, Omar Brown, another guy that's played a lot of in the box, and he's graded out extremely well. Haven't heard about him. He's graded, like very deep in most drafts here. And then Isaiah Davis ends up being our number 2 back. And then Dallas Gant, another really late round linebacker, followed by Edofan Olafoshio, who are both graded out very, very well. So I think it's like a super good needs. It's not unrealistic. And the cool thing, like just a little side note, is that Mason McCormick and obviously Isaiah Davis are from South Dakota State, so they meet up with their boy Kraft, and then I just think it just builds more of that young camaraderie.
Gotcha. All right, so obviously the big thing you're going to get hit with here is the center in the first round. I know many people they think, okay, yeah, it's not you're not worthy to take a center in the first round. I know this. You pass on Creed Humphrey. Obviously, you chose Josh Myers over Creed Humphrey. I think the value was there with Creed. Hindsight's 2020. It's easy to look back and go, wish we'd have done this, wish we'd have done that. As far as a center, Powers Johnson, in my opinion, would be the only center that I would kind of entertain going in the first round. If you look here real quick, and I'll pull yours back up. Yeah, I've got Powers Johnson as a 21st best prospect in the draft. Yeah, and there's many people that are mocking him in the first round, right? So he'll probably be gone by the time you pick when you took him there. Now I got Zach Frazier sitting at 34. So I don't think that's a horrible reach, you know. You could probably get him in the second round, but we'll see how that kind of shakes out as far as the draft order goes. You really what you got here, guys, you got 2 camps, you know. You got some people that go, why would you place that much value on a center? Okay. Then here's the thing, Aaron Jones isn't back there to dance around the backfield anymore. You seen what Josh Jacobs did with a bad run blocking offense last year.
Yeah, that was my thought, is that he had a horrible offensive line, and I didn't want to mimic that. So I was trying to go super heavy intentionally on O-line.
Absolutely, yeah. Christian Haynes, I love that pick at 58. That fills your gap there at right guard. Look at Emilio over here. Emilio had to jump in. He's like, boys, y'all think I ain't out here working today? Let me get your take, Emilio, real quick. What are you doing, man? Did you hear about Aaron Jones?
Yeah, that's tough.
No cussing, all right? We're live.
I'm trying to just keep it mild and happy. But, man, I mean, at least he got paid, right? You know, we love the guy. You think he's going to wear 33? Do we get a purple 33 jersey? I'm not sure, you know, and maybe just kind of hang it up next to sombrero. Mm-hmm. But, no, man, I'm glad he got paid, dude. You know, he deserves it. And, you know, I just want the best for him. So, I just can't believe Jacob put this kind of a draft together.
So there was someone in the chat here. Who was it that said,
"You don't like it? You don't like it, Emilio?"
No, you grabbed some of my boys. I like you grabbed Isaiah, Max, Mason there, and Bullock. I'm not mad about it at all.
Ben Sinnott too. That's another good pick.
Oh yeah.
These are my favorite right here. Like Leon Summerall in the chat. Never seen you in here, bub. Good, glad you dropped by. All right. He says that safety is not a box safety. Jesus. If he's talking about Kalen Bullock, bub, what makes him not a box safety? He played in the box the majority of the time in college. I don't know what the hell tape you're watching, but before you jump in here criticizing people, you might want to do a little bit of checking there.
I don't know if it was possible to pull up Omar Brown's. Did we talk about him on here yet? I was just really surprised at how low he was ranked, but he's graded out super well on PFF, like extremely well. Same with those late round linebackers. All these dudes just have crazy good grades either the last year or the year before.
So we're looking for Omar Brown, right? One of those later round guys.
Nebraska.
Yep.
Yep, Nebraska. Here we go. Bang. Let me get my screen shared here. I got his card pulled up. You may have to take that image down for me, somebody. Let me see if I can get the board to pop up here real quick. Yeah, if you could take that image down for me, someone, please.
I ain't got no controls.
Working on it.
Here, I got you. We're good. Bang. All right, so let me zoom in here so you guys can see this card. So Omar Brown, safety from Nebraska. Okay, let's go first look here. First look, 6'1", 200, got decent size there, right? He's ranked 212th on PFF's board. If you go to the stats, 2021, 83.7, took a step back in 2022 to 64.6, and then jumped back up to an 82.8 in 2023. You guys can see this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Coverage grade, 84.5, solid there. Run defense, well above the average mark there to 74.3. You like to see that. When you look at his snap alignment, he was in the slot 434 times, in the box 147 times, and only played deep safety 60 times. So he's definitely more of that slot, that hybrid we're talking about, playing a little Okie, playing a little three safety sets. Many people in the league have gone to that. I don't know if Robert Saleh's done that. And the reason I mentioned Robert Saleh is because we're expecting Hafley's defense to kind of mimic a little bit of Robert Saleh. That's who he coached under in the NFL. He talks about continuing to have conversations with his quote-unquote NFL friends. He's talking about people on that staff, I'm sure, that San Francisco and now probably Houston with D'Amico Ryans being down there. So, yeah, as far as the slot alignment there, someone that you could kind of throw into the slot in a pinch. He's definitely more of a slot corner than a box safety. But interesting, man. Like I said, I haven't really heard much about Omar Brown. I wouldn't be surprised though if he gets drafted here. So, any other one you want to see as far as the card, Jacob?
The two late round linebackers I had, I don't know if you could take a peek at those quick, just because.
Yeah, let's see, linebacker. Give me a name,
Dallas
Jacob.
Gant was one of them right there.
Who is it?
Dallas Gant.
Okay,
Right
gotcha.
Lido.
So this is Quinyon Mitchell's teammate, right? First look, let's see. He is 6'3", 230. Goody's going to like that hot, man. No doubt about that. PFF's got him ranked 251. I love that you comb through the late round gems, man. I love this because I'm focused more top heavy and all right, how's the first three rounds going to fall into place? It's good that you're digging here late in the draft. 2021, 45.5, horrible. 2022, 80. And in 2023, 87 elite grade. That's wild. Coverage grade, 83. Run defense grade, 87.2. Obviously, he is a true stack backer. He's not going to rush the quarterback as a Sam or a Will. Snap alignments, let's see. Yeah, obviously in the box 820 times. Played a little slot, so he might have been more of a Will, definitely not a Sam if you rotated him out there a little bit in the technical slot, playing a little zone defense in college. Man, that right there might be a gem. What do you think about that one, Jim? That looks pretty solid, dude.
Yeah. I don't know.
He's still over there crying about Jones. All he can think about is Jones. He just can't even focus on anything else today.
No, really what it is I'm with Clayton. I'm holding out hope that we sign Bobby Wagner.
I got you.
When it comes to linebacker. But no, I mean, Gant looks we talked about Jeremiah Trotter Jr. too for a while. And I think like just looking at these numbers, I almost like Mr. Dallas here a little bit better. As far as the comparables, what is his size? What is his attributes? Do we have that?
It's
6'3",
235.
Yeah, so he's a dog. He's that's what you want a linebacker built at. So he's definitely got that over Trotter Jr. Yeah, it looks good, man.
He's projected in like the 6th or 7th or something like that. Can you check out another guy that
let's do a little housekeeping here. Leon jumps back and says, I've done plenty of checking, bub. So you're going to get in here and criticize people on the stream and then get upset that someone called you bub? Again, never seen you in here, bub. And we'll just go ahead and take care of that right now. Haven't done it in a while. So
Roadhouse.
Again, you're not going to get in here and be disrespectful to people because they put a mock draft up and you disagree with it. Okay. It's not going to happen. Not here. There's plenty of other shock jock podcasts, shows on YouTube. You can hop in there and act like a damn tough guy and you know everything about football. Go do it. Cool. Not going to happen in here. Just so you know. Anyway, what were you going to say, Jacob?
No, just the last guy is Edwafon Olafosio. Just wanted to see how he stacked up against him.
Who?
Yeah.
Let's
He'll
see.
be down farther.
Jacob said he'd be in the undrafted column. You love these late round guys. Washington.
Undersized, but I just think he'd be one of those guys where he just seems good enough.
You say undersized, but 6'1", 236 is decent, right? It's not, the big knock on Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is he's 6 foot, right? And it sounds silly. People are like, oh, he's 1 inch taller. Can it be that big of a deal? You'd be surprised at some of how the how the drafts fall in place as far as, requirements for certain teams. 2021, 73.2.
Hey, Clayton, sorry to interrupt, but you told us we want to know when we have a super chat. So we got a super chat over here from Chewy GB Dad. Can I put it up?
Yeah, appreciate it real quick. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Chewy, thank you so much for the super chat, man. Thank you, Carly, for letting me know. I don't want those to sit. I appreciate you letting me know. I understand why people don't want to hit the like button. I don't for any other channel, but this is home. Hit that like button. I appreciate you, Chewy. Thank you so much, man. Paid money to tell people to hit the like button. It don't get any better than that. People are going, there's Clayton's burner account right there. All right. Nah, Chewy, thank you so much, man. You're always supporting me. We appreciate that. All right, so let's see here. 73.2, 49.4 obviously took a dip. Look at the defensive snaps, though, right? He only played 291 snaps in 21. He only played 84 snaps in 22. But in 2023, 615 snaps, right? So obviously played his best football when he had more opportunity there. We talked about his size, 6'1". As far as lineman, he just, it's pretty much just showing him in the box, more of a stack backer. When you look at the specifics, pass rush grade here, 72.2, that might be a little more of a Sam, right? A little bit shorter in stature for a Sam. Typically, those guys are kind of a little bit taller. But run defense grade, 64.7. That coverage grade, yeah, that's wild there, 90.4. So that would lead you to believe more of a stack backer, right, Jacob? More of a Mike, more of a Will type approach there. So
yeah, and again, these guys are 6th and 7th round, if that, type dudes. So I like finding late round gems that are kind of, you never know.
Yeah, for sure, man. I like it, dude. I like it. Again, it seems like every year someone on the pod brings up these late round names. I know Ryan a few years ago, it was Zach Tom, right? And then they end up drafting them. So it's cool to keep your finger on the pulse there, man. So good stuff, dude. Good stuff. Any other ones you want to see here before we move on?
No, if you guys got something else, we can do that.
Okay. Let's see what else we got. I didn't know Emilio's still in there. See, I told y'all Emilio's not working.
I'm working, all right. I just figured I could support the stream here because Jacob's over here just taking us off the rails. I'm kidding.
Jacob took a center in the first round. The chat went nuts.
Yeah.
He hopped in here to cool it down, and he's just sitting in his truck, not getting anything done. I love it, man.
Rock just got delivered. All right, I'll get to it.
It's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. All right, let's see. What else did we have on the docket here as we get ready to wrap up? Man, this show flew by. Holy cow.
Looks like we got a Vikings fan in the chat. He said, thank you for Aaron Jones. That was easy.
Thank you for Aaron Jones. That was easy. See here. Silent Rager X. Thanks for Aaron Jones. That was easy. What was easy about it, Bo? I'm interested to see what is Aaron Jones playing quarterback? Is that what's going on over there? I'm just asking, because let's be real here. It sounds like Sam Darnold is the future, right? Dude couldn't hit a bull in the ass with a mop, but there you go. All right. So good to see the Vikings fans checking in for sure.
They wanted to make sure they had a quarterback capable of handing the ball off 100 times a game.
It is going to be interesting to see if Jonesy can stay healthy in Minnesota, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, man, it's just wild how quickly things change, dude.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, every year someone else. It's just you get older, like me. It's you've seen a lot of players come and go, and it's part of it, man, for sure.
That's right.
Anything else? Anybody else want to hit on here, other than the Viking fans in the chat? We had some stuff we were going to talk about as far as what the roster looks like now, as far as PFF, but we'll save that for tonight. And I'm sure there may be some other action taking place across the league here. Just maybe the Packers make another signing or two. Like I said, I'm expecting some of these names like Keyshawn Nixon potentially fall back in Green Bay. Tim, you got anything, bub?
Yeah, I've been just kind of digging, looking at Keyshawn and AJ Dillon, and it's crickets. It seems like the market for AJ Dillon right now. I only saw a couple of names named as potential teams looking for a guy like AJ Dillon. Excuse me. So I think there's a possibility that you never know. Maybe AJ Dillon ends up back in Green Bay for the cheap. I don't know. But I do know we're still going to draft a running back. I know that.
Yeah, has there been anything linked to AJ Dillon yet that you've seen at all?
Not
I
like
haven't. I don't,
officially, no.
yeah, I haven't seen anything. No visits, nothing like that, right?
Yeah,
Hey.
nothing solid.
Mhm.
Clayton, did you want to pull up that graphic I sent to your direct message of the best quote unquote available free agents after day one? See if there's anybody in there that the chat thinks we should at least
Oh,
have
yeah.
some negotiations with.
Yeah, let's see here real quick. That was we get it pulled up.
I rapid fire day like 6 of them in a row.
All right, let's see here. Give me just 1 second. I'm gonna
So Emilio, are you ever actually at work though, for real? Because you're
Yeah.
always just
I'm-
sitting in a truck. Or
no.
Just trying to support, Jacob. At least I don't go to the gym. Okay, like come on now.
Wow.
Man, I love it. People getting shamed for having a job and trying to stay in shape. You gotta love it, man. This is 2024, right? All right, here it is. Here's what. All right, here's the free agent available after day one list that Jacob was talking about. And as far as I know, these guys aren't off the market yet. You've got Vikings edge rusher Daniil Hunter. You got Ravens linebacker Patrick Queen, Titans running back Derrick Henry, Jaguars wide receiver Calvin Ridley, Tampa Bay Buccaneers linebacker Devin White, Dallas Cowboys cornerback Stephon Gilmore, Dallas Cowboys tackle Tyron Smith, Lions cornerback C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Give me that buzzer for that one for sure. Commanders, Kendall Fuller. He's a DB as well. Cardinals, Marquise Brown. Is that Hollywood Brown? Is that who that is? Yeah. Man, it feels like he's been in the league for 30 years. He's probably only 27, right?
Yeah.
Chase Young, edge defender. Obviously, the Niners traded a third-round pick for him last year to try to get them over the hump. He still hasn't signed. Eric Armstead. I know Omer was big on Eric Armstead. I'm not as big on Armstead, me personally, but 49ers defensive lineman, he'll probably get the bag, I'm sure, somewhere. Tampa Bay Buccaneers linebacker Levante David. You got Ravens edge defender Jadeveon Clowney. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. Let's see. You've got Broncos safety Justin Simmons. I'm not as high on Simmons as most. Colts Kenny Moore. You got Commanders Curtis Samuel, Bengals DJ Reader, Seahawks Bobby Wagner, linebacker, obviously, and Bears Darnell Mooney, a wide receiver there. So for me on this list, people were expecting Patrick Queen to get paid a pretty good chunk. Here's the thing. Sometimes these free agents, they come in, they think, I'm holding out for my money. I'm holding out for money. A couple of positions fall into place, right? A couple players fall into place, and all of a sudden their market tanks. The three teams that were interested signed a guy, and now that market goes down. Has there been any linebackers signed to this point? Like when I look at some of the big names, like Frankie Louvu was one on my list. Azeez Al-Shaair, did he sign? Did we talk about that last night?
I thought he did.
I think he did too. Blake Cashman signed. So you've got some of these linebackers falling into place. That market might dip for Patrick Queen, and that'll trickle down with Bobby Wagner too, being 33 years old. Tyrell Dotson, I heard his name mentioned a couple of times. I don't know if he actually signed. Emilio over grinning like a possum in the dumpster. What are you laughing about, Emilio?
Eric Sutherland.
Eric Sutherland.
Going at him in the chat, and I love it. Yeah.
Paul Robertson getting in on it too.
Yeah, Paul thinks I'm still scooping kitty litter, and Eric's over here thinking I'm killing the world by mowing grass. So
Emilio has a remote control lawnmower.
Jake Shavink popped in to say, "Don't worry, guys. It's all good at linebacker. We'll just draft Peyton Wilson and Cedric Gray. So he's reassuring us, everybody, the world is not going to end. We will be fine."
The linebacker market seems to be guard is crazy right now. It is so people are I say they're overpaying as if I understand the salary cap better than an NFL GM, but it seems like that is really inflated, and the linebacker market's kind of underpriced right now, right? So obviously Xavier McKinney fair market value is set at about $13.5 million. I think the average is going to come out to somewhere around 16 or 17 million. So a little bit, price a little high there. But yeah, as far as linebacker, man, the whole Peyton Wilson thing, man, he's one of those. He might be the player in this draft that's very, very polarizing. Like if you mention a mock drafting Peyton Wilson, he's got two bad knees and a bad shoulder, right? you either get that approach or it's, hey, this dude, look how fast he ran in his underwear. There's nothing in between, right? He's either going to be a superstar or he's not going to be able to play a snap in the NFL, it seems like. My linebackers, as far as it sits right now on the board, we got to get ready to wrap this thing up, man. We're going way
Try
over.
drafting a center first.
You going to get them started again, Jacob.
I knew I was going to poke the bear, but Lord.
So as far as linebacker on my board in the draft here, my top linebacker is Junior Colson at the 49 spot. Again, we're not done with the board yet, but that's where he comes in at if we go 50 through 100. Peyton Wilson is my second best linebacker. I got him in the 63 spot, then Cedric Gray at 66. So it sounds like we're in the same ballpark there, Jake. You know, the two names you mentioned are my number 2 and number 3 linebacker. Jake, if you're still in the chat, and we got to wrap up soon, I want to know your take in the chat. How do you feel about Junior Colson? Where do you have him ranked amongst linebackers in the draft? I'd really like to know your take on that. So, yeah. On this list here, Tim, anybody catch your attention that's not named Bobby Wagner?
Are we still strictly talking linebacker, or are we
Anybody, really? Anybody?
You know, Chase Young's kind of intriguing. That was someone I thought maybe we could have beat San Fran to the punch last year and maybe snagged him, beef up that D line a little. Obviously, you got a lot of respect for guys like Levante David, Devin White. I just don't see those as realistic possibilities for us.
Yeah.
And again, you know, Patrick Queen, there's another name, but you know, again, the money's got to make sense. And again, I don't know if how old is Patrick Queen? He's like 25, right? 24, 25, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Patrick Queen's fairly young. I don't have him on my list. He wasn't one of my favorite linebackers, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he is around 25, maybe a little younger.
So it's intriguing just for the whole youth movement that Goody's got us on. I would kind of keep one eye on Patrick Queen. Not that I think that, you know, he's high on the target list or anything, but I mean, yeah, there's certainly some names here. Y'all know how I feel about Stephon Gilmore, so we don't have to go there. Yeah, so those are the names, but yeah, Bobby Wagner or bust for me, man, all day. I've been putting him on my Madden teams for the better part of a decade in green and gold. In green and gold. So if that happened in real life, even if it was for 1 year, you know, 3.8 million or something, I'm all about it. But you know, wish in one hand and crap in the other, see which one fills up quicker.
Exactly. It's funny too, because there's someone right now going, he's 33 years old, guys. And they've been saying that. I remember when they were saying he's 29 years old, guys. And then he comes out and just continues to, you know, he's got to fall off some point.
He had a career high in tackles last year. I mean,
he had an 82.4 overall grade.
Yeah. If his regression is like low 80s, high 70s PFF, sign him up.
Best linebacker on the team.
Flight myself.
Right. Now, I understand both sides of that coin for sure. I want a little bit of veteran leadership in there, you know. That's where I put the majority of the value on Aaron Jones. But if there's one thing that this whole Aaron Jones situation has told us, Goody could care less about veteran leadership, man. I mean, he did it last year with the wide receiver room. I remember, and I won't call people out, but I remember podcasters and you know, guys live on YouTube talking about, you got to have veterans in that wide receiver room. You got to have them. And I'm sitting here going, man, it makes sense. I can understand that argument. And then they come out and just absolutely lit it up. I'm going, you didn't have to have it, you know? So maybe the same thing applies at linebacker, but I'm with you, Tim. As I look at this list of names here and try to compare it to mine, Bobby Wagner's the one that rings true to me. $4 million, bring him in, let him line up next to Quay. Show Quay what it's like to be a pro and potentially that future Mike if they don't slide Quay into that Sam spot. I like the Bobby Wagner potential there for sure. Tyrell Dotson was another one. I can't remember if he signed or not, but graded out of 90.2 last year, 25 years old. He's got a little bit of history as far as off the field stuff, and maybe that's behind him now, but you definitely want to take that stuff into consideration for sure. And I think the Packers do. So, all right. Look at that cup right there, Carly. You see that cup?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to put this in the microwave? It doesn't say.
Yes, it's microwave safe. Yep, it is.
Oh, well, you just set yourself up, Jake. If you think Paul Robertson and Eric Sutherland ain't going to come at you for microwaving coffee,
Hey,
yeah, it's on its way, my friend.
gotta get it warm again.
Oh man. All right, so there you go. Let's wrap this thing up. Hour 10 minutes. What's that?
One thing about the veteran wide receivers that comes to mind is we brought Sammy Watkins in here in 2022. We all saw how well that went for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight, let's dive into the way the roster looks on the surface now from a PFF standpoint. We'll go through our 11 personnel on offense, our nickel defense, and how it shakes out. Guys, it's exciting about Xavier McKinney. I ain't going to lie. Anthony Johnson Jr. played a lot of that post safety for us last year, that deep safety, free safety, whatever nickname you want to give it now. 47.9 was his PFF grade. Xavier McKinney comes in the 80s. I'll just give you a quick glance. Don't that look nice right there, boys? 87.8. Yeah. Now they've got Anthony Johnson Jr. now playing strong safety. Now in Hafley's defense, it kind of makes sense because the scouting report on Anthony Johnson Jr. coming out of college was he's going to fit the Fangio system because he plays top down really well. And essentially that's what you're asking a strong safety to do. You know, the whole point of the Fangio defense was too high shell, and both safeties need to be able to rotate down so you can kind of keep things balanced. We never did that. We showed too high shell and rotated a single high every single time the same way. So, yeah, what are you laughing at, Jacob?
Just, the chat. But they do agree that microwaving the coffee is not bad. Can you do one more?
Corey says radioactive coffee. Yum, yum.
Hey, man. Can you pull that PFF screenshot up real quick again of the lineups?
Yeah. See, I was trying to hold it to the night, but here you go. I shouldn't have showed it.
Just imagine if we have Mr. Wagner's 82.4 grade in there too. It's starting to look like a pretty darn good defense.
Completely agree. And what do we say? Like I talk about tier 1 positions on defense, edge defender, interior defensive line, right? Pretty much your defensive front, but specifically you need one solid edge defender and one solid 3 tech. I love that they got Carl Brooks inserted in here too as the starter.
Yeah.
I hope that happens. Now, the tier 2 positions are Mike linebacker and free safety. You've got the free safety now. Go get the Mike backer. And some people were going, well, we got him in Quay. Guys, I love Quay. I got the autographed jersey on the wall. I want him to pan out. He's a physical specimen. He has not shown it yet. He hasn't. And again, if you say I disagree with the PFF grade, that's cool. We can agree to disagree. I just challenge you to go look at the run fit tape and how he gets washed out. I hope it comes together in a 4-3 look, right? Being more of that traditional, in the base anyway. But the reality is the majority of teams work out of 11 personnel, 3 wide receiver sets, which means this is the nickel we're going to be in. The, nickel 4-2-5. The slot there, guys, what's eating Gilbert Grape over here, bro? Like, who the hell knows? I looked at him and who's Gilbert? So
double zeros too.
For those people that keep screaming, we don't need to draft corners, I want you to look at Stokes and I want you to look at Gilbert. Okay. Please just take a mental note. And I hope Ja returns to old form.
Max Melton's winning that job as soon as we draft him.
Yeah. We need a slot corner and we need an outside corner to compete with Stokes. And like you said, Max Melton, maybe he's that guy. I'll tell you, maybe Kool-Aid McKinstry is that guy, right? But I'm with you. Whoever said it, I can't remember if it was Jacob or Tim. I think it was you, Jacob. You put Bobby Wagner next to Quay Walker there in this nickel, I feel a lot better about this defense. You bring back Rudy Ford, let Rudy Ford, Anthony Johnson Jr., Rudy Ford on a minimum, of course, unless the market's there for him. Rudy Ford, Anthony Johnson Jr., and anyone else you bring into the safety room. Maybe you bring back Jonathan Owens on a minimum. Let them compete for that box safety spot, right? The biggest thing that you needed, though, is free safety, in my opinion, and you got it. It's going to be absolutely huge. Let's hope he stays healthy. That's the big thing for me.
Oh, yeah.
Because you put all those eggs in kind of one basket. We told you there was 2 different approaches you could take. You could go out and get like an Alohi Gilman and a Geno Stone for less than what you're going to pay for Xavier McKinney. They went the McKinney route. Again, this feels like Goody's like, hey, guys, listen, we got us about a 3-year window open right now. Let's go after it. That's what it kind of feels like. So Jake in the chat says, let Oladipo cook at box safety. Yes, sir. He is on our list. For those of you wondering, We were talking about the difference in safeties, box safeties. Here's the short list of box safeties in the draft that I got. And I'm sure Jake will disagree on some, and that's totally cool. Any other names you got, throw them in there, Jake. A lot of Poe's definitely on my list. I got Mustafa, Kalen Bullock, Bo Braid, Jaden Hicks, and a lot of Poe.
Kalen Bullock's not a box safety.
It cracks me up, man. It's like, okay, he played in the box his whole college career. What makes you think he's not a box safety? So anyway, whether he's good at it or not, I understand questioning that, but yeah. So we'll be back tonight. We may throw a mock draft together tonight, but I also want to take some time. I don't know if it'll happen for this evening's show. I want to put together a little chalk talk for Xavier McKinney and Josh Jacobs. We'll go back to 2022 when that offense was an absolute dookie, and I think he led the league in rushing. That's obviously who Goody is trying to get right now. I like his contract. I do. I wish we'd brung Aaron Jones back for, $7 million. So it is what it is. If you guys would, I know we got over 500 people in here. Use your pinky. Hit that like button for us. All right. And we would greatly appreciate it. If you're watching on Twitter, you like this type of content, we went way over. We usually try to keep it under an hour. You can click on my profile and go to my YouTube channel and go subscribe over there. It's a lot easier for you to comment and communicate with the chat from the YouTube app. So yeah, use that pinky right there too. Good job, Tim. I like it. So, all right, we're out of here, guys. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Want to give a special shout out to Chewy. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. You are awesome. And we will be back tonight for PTA Live unless some signings take place. Yesterday we went live 4, maybe 5 times. If I look up at 1:00 and a signing happens, don't be surprised if we go live. Guys, I'm going to create the link for the show tonight. If we do go live and you get a text from me, hey, I'm going live and you want to join, know that that's the link we'll use, okay? We'll just bump it up and go live. So appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Jacob, thank you for sharing the mock. Thank you for sharing all the screen grabs and everything. Dude, Carly, thank you for help working with the chat and everything you do. Tim, you the man. Thank you for leading the Bobby Wagner train. We got to get him in here in Green Bay, man. I'm on board.
All day.
All right. We're out of here, guys. Y'all have a great day. Be safe out there. We'll see you tonight. For those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. And go Pack, go.